I am very interested in that it ain't over till the fat lady sings. In other words, the situation is serious. We're not dealing with a joke situation.
I'm not the fat lady, am I?
Well, can you sing?
Nope.
Okay,
I'll give it a go.
Then you're not the one, then you're not the fat lady.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know the expression, it's the end of baseball in Canada, or in the United States.
I do know it's from Canada. I've heard the expression, it's not over till the fat lady sings.
Right. Okay, so it's a serious situation. A lot of people go, it's desperate, it's horrible. Why don't we start with, how do you see it right now, and how do you see yourself right now?
I'm in a positive place right now in the fact that I see myself portrayed and viewed very differently to I have over the last, going back through the years. The public, how the public see me, not how the media see me or the politicians or the political elites, but how the general public see me. I'm in a positive place.
But a lot of people are saying we're having major things happening and they're all bad. So how do you see things? And you're somebody who laughs a lot. How do you put that together?
We're in a desperate situation. When you say it's not over till the fat lady sings, that reminds me of a time when poppies were being burned in the UK. The poppies are a remembrance symbol, same as yours. And I come home, I was arrested for trying to prevent these radical extremists who are all now in jail for terrorism. I was trying to prevent them, and when I got home, I'd been arrested, and I'd been arrested multiple times in the early years of my activism. And when I got home, my wife's nan was there, and she said, "You've been arrested again?" I said, "Yeah." She said, "It's too late." I said, "What do you mean it's too late?" She said, "It's too late, you can't stop it." I said, "You see that attitude? It's too late. 5% of my country is Islamic. It's not too late, okay? If everyone had that attitude in the 1930s, we'd all be sitting or speaking German. We would have not fought. We would not have won. So that attitude that it's too late, it winds me up, because it's never too late. And so long as people have got, I'd say that our fight for freedom will always overcome their fight for Sharia. In the end, when you wake up the sleeping giant, which so many people talk about, when Britain wakes up, when the English people realise, and when the British people realise, and that fight that we've had throughout our history, when that comes alive, it's going to be something that's going to change the country. And I keep saying, what's that moment going to be? And none of us know what that moment's going to be, and none of us can create that moment, but that moment will come. I think it's coming. I think that it will come, and when that moment happens, we'll see. I've been saying it for 9 years. If I go back to my early speeches, there's a swing from left to right happening in Europe that you can't stop, that politicians can't stop, and I will smile and laugh again. The police can't stop it. Islamic money can't stop it. That's happening. If you look at what's happened over the last 9 years, you look at the elections in Austria most recently, the elections in Italy, you look at the fastest growing political parties in Sweden, in all of these countries, they're the anti-Islam political parties. That's the future. Now, the defining moment, who knows what it will be? If you look at Northern Ireland, the conflict with British and the Northern Irish, Bloody Sunday was a defining moment in that country's history. Our defining moment will come. None of us know what it will be, but we have to, I see my job, and you ask if what position I feel. I'm in a comfortable place in the sense that for 9 years there's been a campaign to slander me, to demonise me, to stigmatise me, and it worked in the early years. But now, with our own social media and online media, and being our own voice, people are hearing our voice. And I say to people, listen to what I say, not to what the media say I say. And I gather by the reaction I receive when I travel this country, I receive at times a heroic reception. So I'm in a comfortable place because I know the public. It was in the early days, it's like you love your country and your country hates you back. That's what it felt like. And now, it doesn't feel like it. So yeah, I'm in a comfortable place, but the country's in a desperate situation.
Okay, right now it's in a desperate situation, and yet you're able to laugh, you're able to enjoy yourself. I want to know, when you started out as a child, would people have said, he's got a great future as an activist, he's going to speak out? Or what might they have said about you as a kid?
As a kid, I was always... So in fact, if I bring this, there's a Luton football hooligan book that was wrote in the early 2000s when I was a youngster. And the man who wrote the book says in there, he names me and he says he's a natural born leader. So, and that was when I was 18 or 17. So he saw that and I've always been a leader of the pack, a leader of the group, an organiser. I never saw myself. The path my life took, I wouldn't change it now for the world, but it's a very different life to what I ever would have led. Yeah, my life took a drastic turn in 2009. It took a lot of drastic turns actually. When I was 21, it took a drastic turn. When I lost my career, all of these things have played a part. But I believe that all of them are tests. And going to prison, I wouldn't change that. I believe all of them are part of chiselling out the character of who you are. And I can sit here now and say that I think I've been through a lot, and there's nothing I can't go through with the experiences. Yeah.
I was in fact wondering, I think you'd be a better Prime Minister than Theresa May. Is that something you might aspire to? I
laugh at when people, I have to not laugh, when people say to me, oh, Tommy Robinson's Prime Minister, I think, you don't know. You obviously, because I think of my background and my life and what's brought me here and generally who I am, and Prime Ministers, I find it funny, if I'm honest. But other people see that, and I think that in drastic times, which is what we're in, anything is possible. And I think that the British public are fed up of politicians. I think the American public were, which is why Donald Trump was elected. People want something different. Whether they want Tommy Robinson is a different story. But I think that the difference is, the difference is which people relate with politicians. Most politicians come from a different background, a different class, a different education. They've had a privileged life, and they don't hold the community feeling that we hold. Now, I'll explain that. There was a young man who was doing a documentary on me. His name was Tom Costello. He got the best grades you could get at Oxford University. He was from a very wealthy middle-class background, and he spent time with me, a year with me. And when he come to meet me in my estate, where we're from, he sat there in amazement by the end of the night after he experienced it, and he said, I haven't got this. I said, what? He said, the community. You all know each other. Because what they've done is he's gone to a privately educated school, probably bused to the school. He doesn't know anyone in his local community, really. And then when he's left school, he's gone to a university. So then he's in a different city again. Then when he's come out of that city, he's gone to another city. He hasn't got the makeup and the feeling that we have. So if a girl's abused in our community, if someone's violently attacked, we all feel it. Because we know her mum, her nan, her cousin. We're close. So, and what's happened is we have our community, and then the government have brought other people into the country who have then come into our community who are hostile towards us, there's an arrogance, there's a violence, and then we're supposed to just watch our community decay, watch it change, watch people get hurt and attacked and murdered and raped, and we're supposed to not even talk about it and say how, even just saying it didn't used to be like this. Even saying that is frowned upon. So yeah, I think that politicians all come from the different class and they don't experience the life experience we've had. The reason why we connect with people, why I've connected with people, is because people know that he's from where you're from. I'm from the same place. I've seen what you've seen. And only when I started the English Defence League and I spoke out, I realised so many people saying, that's happened in my town. That's happened in my town. And so I said that when I go on TV, or I've gone on TV and people from a different class have tried to belittle me, then you're not just belittling Tommy Robinson, you're belittling millions of people like me. Millions of people who now see what we say as a voice for them because they're scared and they've seen the same life and the same upbringing. So when I talk about the experiences I've had in Luton, that's not just Tommy Robinson. There's Tommy Robinsons in every town and city.
You've talked about some tests or stages, and I know I've seen some very early videos of you. The man who's talking there, the accent is similar, but for example, you haven't said fuck once. And I remember then, you said it, and you said it, and you said it. So there's so much. You've learned.
No, I've grown up.
So what have the tests been, and how have you changed? Because you haven't chosen to change your accent at all. but you've chosen to stop swearing or get.
I'm wearing a blazer.
You're wearing a blazer, but underneath it is a sweatshirt.
It's a t-shirt, yeah.
A t-shirt, right?
It's casual.
So and you're a leader, but if maybe politics. Could you see yourself also working with somebody under somebody else's leadership in politics? So I'd like to see what tests have you done and how have you grown. You didn't, when you started talking, you had hardly any awareness of anything. I've seen you on television. Your arguments are brilliant. So I'd love to get a sense of this test got me here. This test got me here.
So when I first started, I tried to approach Douglas Murray. He was with Robert Spencer. And I went up to him to speak to him, and he pretty much told me, this is at the very start, to go away. He was worried by our background. He was worried by whether we were racist. But and I said, Douglas, we're living in the gut here. Yeah? We're seeing all these problems. And he said to me, if you're for real, then remain true to yourself. Always remain true to yourself. Yeah? And he said, and I thought about it a lot, and that's all I've tried to do. I've not changed what I've said once. I've not. When I started off, you're right. I swore. I was an angry young man at times as well. I'm 35 years old now. I was 25 when I started the English Defence League, and I went from working on a building site to 6 months later leading the biggest street protest movement Europe's seen. And I had so many people telling me my shit didn't stink. Excuse my, but there's a swear word. But I had so many people telling me that, and that everything I was doing was great, and I had to take a back seat to look at where I was, who I was, what I was becoming. At times, even when I was leading the English Defence League, the stress, the pressure, it turned me into a different person. And then it's only coming through all of that, I'd say that I've grown up. I swore a lot in the early days because people from working class communities, we swear, and it was to understand that would alienate some people, and what people don't want to hear that. And I've just said, we held the Day for Freedom event recently in London, and afterwards I'm pulling people saying, you can't swear, like when people have swore, there's kids out there. But I was the man that would have stood up 10 years ago and been swearing like hell. I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot about politics. I've learned a lot about how the media work. I've learned a lot about everything. I feel that I've done a complete apprenticeship, and to come out the other end to think that I'm more qualified to talk about these issues than I feel anyone that's telling me from the media class or from the politicians. Because, for example, I had one interview where I had, is it Hofi Common, one of the top EU people's, his speechwriter, and he was an expert on multiculturalism. So I said to him, the first thing I said is, where are you? He said, in Brussels. I said, okay. Where are you from? He said, Exeter. You grew up in Exeter. Exeter is 99.9% white Christian town, but yet here